Okay, so here we are with another DC Multiverse figure, and guess what? It's Batman again. Uh, a lot of people complain they make too many Batman action figures in this line. Well, I'm not one of those people. I will buy every single Batman action figure they make as long as they actually manage to make a design that I like. And it's not that hard to make a design for a Batman action figure I like. Step one, don't make it Robert Pattinson. Step two, while it doesn't have to be a blue and gray Batman, I'm always a sucker for a blue and gray Batman. So it's really easy. You can do Batman in an all black outfit, obviously. Like, for example, the Michael Keaton version of Batman. I love the Michael Keaton version of Batman. They're doing a single carded version of this, and I'm going to be buying it if I can find it. I'm really excited about it. I even have like imposters of Batman, like Hugo Strange here and Jean-Paul Valley, who's over on my shelf right now. So I don't want to go all the way over there and get him. But I don't have Robert Pattinson. I won't lower myself to that level. And of course, I just opened like an entire wave of Spin Master Batman Forever figures this week, and I've got more Batman figures to open up. Oh yeah, we're not even done opening up the Batman action figures that I need to open, but this is the one that I'm most excited about. This is Batman and Ace the Bat-Hound, the Silver Age versions. We can see there's Ace the Bat-Hound in there. Now, if you're a younger person than me, and you grew up with the animated series Batman Beyond, you might remember Ace as being Batman's dog on that, or old Bruce Wayne's dog. Lone Dragon says, I haven't even seen the Robin Pattinson one. Yeah, I envy you. Anytime somebody says, I haven't seen that movie yet, I'm just like, don't. It's don't watch it. The world was a happier place before I watched the Robert Pattinson Batman movie. You know what? I'm an idiot because I took both of my X-Acto knives into the kitchen where I was working on some hobby type stuff. So that means I don't have an X-Acto knife with me to open up this figure. And I'm looking in this little hobby tray that I got here, where I've got like a whole bunch of stuff, hoping maybe one of my extra X-Acto knives is in there, and I don't see it. And the big box that I keep underneath me down here, it's just got too much stuff piled on top of it for me to dig through right now. So I'm just looking around my desk and seeing if I have anything at all that might work to help me open up this package. And the best I can find is a spoon, which, I could get the tape open very easily with a spoon. And I do see, from when I bought my new X-Acto knife, the little case with the X-Acto knife blades in it. Lone Dragon says, I remember Ace. Ace was also the name of a robot in Beyond, the Royal Flush Gang. I got another delay on... Oh, you got another delay on your Beyond Batmobile. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, maybe I'll have some Tick action figures to open sometime on this show. So I've got a naked X-Acto knife blade, so I'll use that to cut through. It's probably not the safest thing to use. You probably won't actually have the X-Acto knife blade in an X-Acto knife handle, but whatever, beggars can't be choosers right now. So we'll go ahead and open them up. And then I've got all those rubber tabs to deal with. And it's got that thing where it's now got like the bottom of the package is all tabbed in like this. I have to I try to get it open without tearing it, but it always winds up tearing somehow. So there is Batman and Ace. We get a better look at them in the package. Not in the face! Not in the face! In the pilot episode of the animated series, it was Mickey Dolenz of the Monkees that voiced that character. I don't think he voiced him in the regular show, but in the pilot episode, he was the voice of Arthur. So, there we go. I kind of bent up the card a little bit accidentally. It is not on the same bubble with the stand, so that's too bad. Oh yeah, so Ace the Bat-Hound on Batman Beyond, they later retconned that. The Royal Flush Gang, when they appeared on Batman Beyond, it would have been the earliest iteration. And the original Ace was like kind of a little girl with mental powers. And I'm not gonna try to tell that story here. Rob Paulsen, was he Arthur? Rob Paulsen's a legend. He was Raphael on Ninja Turtles. Yeah, and Pinky and the Brain, he was Pinky, and God, yeah, guy's a legend. Like full stop. I had seen on Facebook, you could probably find it on YouTube also, there was a video of, I guess it was when he was at a convention with Kevin Conroy, and they did the dialogue from the very end of The Dark Knight, the movie, Christian Bale and Gary Oldman. They did the dialogue from the end of that, and of course, obviously, Kevin Conroy was Batman, because who else are you going to get to be Batman in that scenario? And Rob Paulsen played uh, uh, Commissioner Gordon, and he, of course, was great as Commissioner Gordon. I don't think he's ever played that officially in anything, but he could. Rob Paulsen is a legend, just period. I mean, if he had done nothing else but be Raphael, he'd be a legend in my eyes. And they brought him back on that Nickelodeon Ninja Turtles cartoon. It was pretty good. But the thing that was weird for me was they had him play Donatello, and I don't want to say that he did a bad job as Donatello. I thought he was actually good as Donatello, but the problem is, and this is more my hang up than anything else, is like anytime I heard his voice coming out of Donatello's mouth, I'm like, why does he sound like Raphael? Because I'm used to him being Raphael. I'm sure kids that had never seen the original cartoon had no problem with it and just were able to accept him as Donatello, no question. But for me, it was like if you had a Super Friends cartoon or Justice League cartoon or something like that, and you got Kevin Conroy to be on your Justice League cartoon, but he was playing Superman. And it's like, I'm sure Kevin Conroy could have played a great Superman, but you're used to hearing him as Batman. You know what I mean? That was my issue with that. And again, I don't want to say he did a bad job, because I don't think Rob Paulsen could do a bad job. Fantastic voice actor. But like I said, that's my hang up more than anything else. All right, so we got all the hands out of there. We'll talk about the hands in a little bit. I want to go ahead and get him out of the package as best I can with this little bitty X-Acto knife blade. I'm just trying to be like very carefully pick away at these things, because I don't want to slip my finger and wind up running across an X-Acto knife blade. The last thing you guys want to see on this live stream is just me with blood profusely gushing out of my fingertip because I wasn't cautious. Or I don't know, maybe you guys do want to see that. Maybe you're that kind of crowd. I doubt it, though. Most of you don't seem like the type that would be that bloodthirsty. All right, so there was these are all double rubber tabs. They just decided to just be complete dicks with this one. As far as the rubber tab department must have been like, bored this day, and maybe they needed to justify their existence. Maybe Mcfarlane's upper management has been watching a lot of my videos and thinking to themselves, we could probably save half a cent on every pallet full of action figures if we cut down on the amount of man, you're just going through every Rob Paulsen character right now, aren't you? And I'm still blabbering on about this action figure. But yeah, Snow Job and Tripwire. Like I said, freaking legend. I think when he was playing Snow Job, it almost sounded like he was doing a John F. Kennedy impression. And I always remember the line that he had in the miniseries when they get out of the cave. And he's like, fresh snowy air. I never thought I'd smell it again. And Yakko, Yakko, I think, is probably the thing that, even though it wasn't the thing that my mind went to first, I think for the entire generation of kids growing up with Animaniacs, and I was a young adult when Animaniacs started, so I can't honestly say I grew up with it, but I watched it with my sisters. They grew up with it, so I do have some nostalgic affection for it. But I'm pretty sure the entire generation that grew up with Animaniacs, Rob Paulsen would be the guy That would be the character they would think of would be Yakko Warner. So all right, so here we got Batman out of the package, and he's got nice bright blue and a nice sort of neutral gray color. And man, that is a shiny cape. Look at that. That has got some sheen to it. And this is very much that sort of comic book cyan color. Like if you print out an old comic book, that's the shade of blue that you get. See, like it matches up perfectly. And by the way, a little bit of a personal connection with the Todd father himself. His oldest daughter is named Cyan. So there you go. He obviously is quite fond of that color. Or maybe his wife is. I don't know. Anyway, let's go ahead and set Batman aside for a minute. We're going to talk about Ace. So there does not seem to be any articulation on Ace at all. He is a solid slug, very nicely sculpted, very dark brown shading to his fur. He's wearing a black mask. You might wonder, and I know this was a running gag in Wizard magazine back in the day, why would a dog wear a mask? Do you recognize dogs by their face? Is it to hide a secret identity from other dogs? Dogs don't recognize each other by their face. Dogs recognize each other by butt smell. He should be wearing a mask on his butt. You know, the typical, very sophisticated humor that we came to expect from Wizard magazine. We were all teenagers at the time. It's fine. So he's got I don't know how well you guys can see that. If I reflect the light on it, you see it very well. He's got a little tag on his collar that's shaped like the Silver Age Batman emblem, and that's really cool. And Ace has just plain white eyes, as he was drawn when he wore the mask in the comics. So the real reason that Ace wore this mask is because he actually had some very distinctive markings on his forehead, and it was to hide those markings on the forehead, so they wouldn't be able to tell that that was. Eventually, he would become Bruce Wayne's dog, but originally he was somebody else's dog, and Batman would just borrow him from time to time. But I guess they figured it was easier just to make him Batman's dog. I kind of figure he was somewhat inspired by Toby from the Sherlock Holmes stories, and in those stories, like, Holmes was not the actual owner of Toby. He just borrowed him when he needed a bloodhound from time to time. Apparently, Rob Paulson, I always want to say Robert Paulson, but that's the guy from that Meatloaf played in Fight Club. Apparently, he was also Haji on Johnny Quest, too. Yeah, that must have been like some of those later Johnny Quests. I don't think he would have been old enough for the original Johnny Quest, but maybe the one that I watched in the 80s when they did the revival of it in the 80s. He could have done that, or like The Real Adventures of Johnny Quest or something. Probably those made-for-video movies that they made, like Johnny's Golden Quest and Johnny and the Cyber Insects or whatever it was called. But yeah, so Ace is pretty cool. And you can see he's got a little bit of a scowl on his face, like he just saw the Joker or something. Or, since I always have him handy, the Riddler. Back, Fido! Back! Lone Dragon says, I'm spoiled on G.I. Joe classified pets. Mcfarlane makes statues. Yes, indeed. This is just a solid slug. Unfortunately, has no articulation on it whatsoever. Comparing it to the previous Crypto figure, at least Crypto had an articulation at the neck, so you can turn his head all the way around. But Ace hasn't even got that. He's got nothing. He's just a solid slug. He is quite a bit larger than Crypto, it's worth pointing out. Both the 80s and the 90s, not the original, obviously. He's only 68. Yeah, like, even if he played Haji when he was a kid, I don't think he was working at that time. So, all right, so let's go ahead and talk about Batman himself. And like I said, he's got like a really nice bright blue, very accurate to the comic books at the time. Like I said, this is supposed to be a Silver Age version of Batman, but in my mind, this is going to be the Earth 2 version of Batman. Now, the Earth 2 Batman and the Earth 1 Batman were pretty much identical in appearance until the New Look era. Now is when we run into a little bit of controversy as far as when does the Earth 2 Batman end and the Earth 1 Batman, well, begin. Not to be confused with Batman Begins, which is a completely different continuity. We're not going to get into that right now. But yeah, when and there's a school of thought that the first appearance of Earth 1 Batman is actually the first appearance of the New Look Batman, when Julius Schwartz took over as editor of the Batman comics, and they started drawing the yellow circle around the oval on the chest. Some people think that's the first appearance of Earth 1 Batman, but that's impossible, because that would mean that the Batman we see in Justice League would have to be the Earth 2 Batman, and that can't be, because Earth 2 Batman obviously couldn't have been in the Justice League. So the earliest appearance of Batman, going Earth 1 Batman, going by that logic, might be that issue of Justice League. However, I am of the school of thought, this is my idea as to what the first appearance of Earth 1 Batman is the, I don't remember the actual issue number, where I'll look it up real quick while I'm over here at the computer, and I can work the Google on the internet machine. First meeting Superman and Batman first meeting. It says All-Star Comics number 7, but that's the Earth 2 versions. That's the first time we saw them meet in the comics. But it's not actually their first meeting of the Earth 2 versions. Superman and Batman on Earth 2 would have first met each other on the radio show. That actually is part of comic book continuity, because Roy Thomas put it into comic book continuity. The first time in the comic book that Superman met Batman officially, outside of the Justice Society appearances, which that's Earth 2, that doesn't really count. So Batman met Superman in Superman number 76, and that is considered the official first meeting of the Earth 1 versions of Superman and Batman. So by that logic, that must be the earliest appearance of Earth 1 Batman, going by, if we count the earliest appearance as, what's the earliest appearance of Batman that couldn't possibly be the Earth 2 Batman? Lone Dragon says the sequel to Batman Begins should have been called Batman Continues. Well, they couldn't call it Batman Returns, now could they? All right, so here's how far his cape flares out. And I believe this is about the same width as, because of course I have them nearby. I have to have them nearby the Earth 2 Robin figure, because we're going to have a look at them side by side. So it looks like their capes are roughly the same size, although I think that Batman's cape is maybe about a half an inch longer, maybe. But they flare out about the same amount, it looks like. Robin's cape actually might flare out a little bit wider, but just so Robin's cape is wider, but Batman's cape is longer. Go ahead and make your jokes. I'll wait. I'll just sit here silently judging you. Are you done? Okay, are you done now? All right, we can move on talking about the action figure. So this does use the Detective Comics, or always like how called it. This does use the Nightfall design for the Batman body for the most part, and much like with Robin, it uses the same torso that Robin here uses. It's that blank version of the. Well, it's too late. I've moved on. Sorry, Lone Dragon. You're just gonna have to PM me your jokes. So. So we've been over the articulation on this figure before, but let's go over it again. Batman can look up about that far. He can look down about that far. Of course, his arms rotate all the way around the shoulders, and they move up about that far. They're on butterfly joints, so they can move up and down. It's all like this. They go back about that far, go forward about that far. He can tilt his head quizzically from side to side. Skipped over that part. He's got the cool Mcfarlane torso articulation, so we can be twisting that around any which way we want to, both where the abs meet the rib cage and where the abs meet the waist. And speaking of the waist, here's that new utility belt they designed for him. Very close to the Golden Age and late Silver Age or early Silver Age versions of the Batman utility belt. And something that's a detail that I really like, they gave him black trunks with like a little bit of blue highlight at the side, which again pretty much matches up to the way that Batman's trunks were usually drawn in the comics at that time. I do believe that these were actually supposed to be black trunks that just had a blue highlight on it. And you can see like Batman's cape even still has a good amount of black shading in this picture. So I'm pretty sure the original design of Batman was supposed to be a black cape and cowl, but they just kept putting more blue highlights and less black shading on it as time went on. And then eventually this is what Batman looked like. By the way, I really like this head sculpt. I really feel like it captures the flavor of Golden and Silver Age Batman comics, especially comics drawn by the likes of Dick Sprang, Jerry Robinson, Jack Brunley, not Irv Novick, he came later. What's that guy's name? So Shelley Malduff. I believe Shelley Malduff is the one who drew the cover. That looks like a Shelley Malduff to me. But that's not the guy I'm thinking of. What was that guy's name? He drew such a good Catwoman, too. He drew a lot of late Golden Age Batman comics. I'm drawing a complete blank on his name. I feel bad about it. Win Mortimer. Win Mortimer. That's the guy I'm thinking of. Lone Dragon says probably for the best. Not sure how well PDF file jokes fly on YouTube. Yeah, we don't want any on this channel. I will say this: brick and a wood chipper. That's what I'm gonna say. Kane Highwind asks, do most DC Multiverse figures scale well with the Supergirl series figure? Melissa Benoist, I don't know how to say her last name. She's cute as hell, but I don't know how to say her last name. If you're referring to the Mattel figure that they made of her, I think she's a little undersized for these. I think that these are probably a little too tall. I'm hoping at some point McFarlane will just make a CW version of Supergirl, because I really like that design. They did make a while back that was a Target exclusive, a Supergirl figure that had a chase variant that was colored to look more like the television show version, but her head sculpt didn't really look much like the TV show version anyway. So maybe if he could find a custom version on eBay, or maybe one to 3D print, that would be good. Lone Dragon says, Dick Sprang. Yeah, John Byrne always said that, like, Dick Sprang is the only comic book artist whose name is a sentence. And I usually add to that, and a dirty sentence to boot. I knew what you meant. I knew what you meant. It was probably autocorrect, wasn't it? Autocorrect is the bane of my existence, I swear. So, anyway, where was I? Oh, yeah, still on the articulation. So Batman can kick up about that far. So pretty decent range of motion there. He's got double jointed knees. That's the about articulation he gets in the knees. And he's got the cool Mcfarlane rocker articulation at the ankles. So you move that all around. By the way, he also had double jointed elbows. I forgot all about those. And the cool Mcfarlane wrist articulation that you can move all the way around. And in case I didn't mention it, he does have a bicep swivel. Like I said, we've already been over this Nightfall version of Batman several times. And I don't have the Norm Brayfogle version over here because I was taking some pictures of him earlier this morning. So I don't have him handy. But he's got pretty much the same body as this guy. So let's get a good shot of him next to the Earth 2 Robin. And these are the characters that will be standing together on my shelf, is this version of Batman and Robin. That's the dynamic duo that are going to go together as far as that goes. But if you do have the Kane Highwind says, I love the soft good cape too. Yeah, I've really been loving, especially the wired capes that Mcfarlane has been doing earlier. Lone Dragon points out that NASCAR did one better with Dick Trickle. Yeah, my dad was a big NASCAR fan, and I couldn't help but kind of chuckle anytime that name came up. He's like, "What? He's a good race car driver. Shut up." I'm sure he's a great race car driver, but Dick Trickle. So if you want like a more classic style of Robin, some of you out there might be lucky enough to have the actual Dick Grayson figure that was like, I think, a McFarlane website exclusive. I was never able to get one, but it pretty much used this same buck. That's the Dark Knight Returns version of Robin, which these two don't technically go together. But if you do have that Dick Grayson Robin that uses mostly this body, that's about the scale that you would get with this version of Batman. And honestly, she's about as tall as the 1966 version of Robin. And he doesn't look too bad with that one either, does he? Now, granted, these figures aren't as articulated as the Multiverse figures, but if you just want a younger version of Robin, like a more Silver Age version of Robin to stay on your shelf, you could do worse than picking up one of the 1966 figures and standing it next to him. Lone Dragon says, you're slightly older than me, and remember NASCAR from when we were kids? Boy, do I have a song for you. Okay, so one last figure to see him next to, and that's the Earth 2 Superman. And you can see right now I don't have the actual Earth 2 Superman head on him. I put the Christopher Reeve head on him just because I was screwing around, and I don't know where I put the actual Earth 2 head. It's around here somewhere, but I put the Christopher Reeve head on there just for fun. But you can see what the Earth 2 Superman and Batman look like together. Okay, Kane Highwind says, is that 1966 Robin about the height of a Lightning Collection Power Ranger? Yeah, those are 6-inch figures, the 1966 figures. So I believe those should be in the same scale as the Lightning Collection. So and then Robin is a little shorter than Batman, obviously, and I do somewhere around here have one of the Batman figures from this line. I know for a fact I saw the New Adventures Batman around here. There he is. Okay. So that's about how well they scale with each other. And since I have a G.I. Joe Classified figure nearby, so you can see how well they scale with the G.I. Joe Classified. I think that Classified is about the same size as Power Rangers Lightning Collection. So that should give you some idea. They're a little bit shorter than Storm Shadow, but still about the same scale. Lone Dragon says they should make a George Reeves Superman figure. I absolutely agree. Kane Highwood says, I just ordered me a Batgirl the other day, and I'm glad to hear that. Thanks for the info. Well, if you just ordered a Batgirl the other day, I have her handy too. So that's about how tall she is next to Storm Shadow. So, like, I figure she should probably be about the right size next to your Power Rangers figures. I don't know exactly how well they scale with G.I. Joe, but I think they're at least close enough to be in the same ballpark. So she'll be like maybe a little bit shorter than Power Rangers, but I figure that's okay. She doesn't need to be like taller than any of the Power Rangers, certainly. So, and I don't know if like how well I don't really have any of the Lightning Collection figures, so I don't know how well the women scale in that line, but I figure she should probably scale all right with them. Lone Dragon says, do you have the Frozen Page Punchers? I got Mr. Freeze, and I'm regretting not picking up the others. Is that the kind of barbarian looking ones? Because I don't have any of those yet. I do keep seeing Batgirl at Walmart and wanting to pick her up, but I haven't gotten a chance to yet. But I would like to get I would like to get the Batman and Robin and Batgirl figures from those. Mr. Freeze, like I wasn't really sold on the way they did the faceplate on his helmet. I kind of like the concept of it because it reminds me of Robot Monster. Remember that old cheesy sci-fi movie from the 50s where they had a guy in a gorilla suit with a diving helmet, and that was supposed to be the Robot Monster? It kind of reminds me of that. I'm figuring that was probably supposed to be a deliberate homage, but the way they just kind of painted the red eyes onto the faceplate, it just didn't work for me. So I kind of figured it could have been better executed, and that's why I didn't pick that up. Even though, like I said, I liked the concept of it, but the kind of barbarian looking versions of the dynamic duo and Batgirl, I thought those were really cool, so I did want to pick those up. Kane Hindwood says, "Gotta head out. Thank you again for the info, Alan. Everyone hit the like button and subscribe, just like I did. Hey, that's really good advice." Thanks for stopping by. Hope to see you again soon. So yeah, I do absolutely love this Batman action figure. While we're looking at Silver Reef Batman, we might as well, since I got him nearby, have a look at him next to the New Adventures version, and you can see that the blue does not match up 100%, although it is really close. But this is closer to how it was on that animated series, and this is closer to how it was in the comics. But man, that's a shiny cape, isn't it? He looks great. I love him. But yeah, the head sculpt is really cool. It captures the look of like the old Dick Sprang type Batman, but at the same time, it's almost like a more realistic version of that. And he's got lots of like lines and nooks and crannies in his face to give him a lot of character, and it makes him look like an older Batman. Which, as far as I'm concerned, since I want to use him as an Earth 2 Batman, a Batman that can stand next to this Robin, then that's perfect for me. That's exactly what I want. I want kind of like a middle-aged Batman, a Batman who's like in his late 50s, and he's kind of starting to slow down, and he's gone into semi-retirement, and he's leaving most of the crime fighting these days to Robin. And like Batman just kind of comes out of retirement at this point when the shit hits the fan. And like if the Joker actually breaks out, then Batman steps in. But if it's just like he can handle the Penguin, that's fine, whatever. Oh geez, it's Calendar Man again. I don't even know if Robin needs to bother with Calendar Man. Can't the regular cops take care of Calendar Man? Was Polka Dot Man? Come on. But yeah, I highly recommend picking this guy up. He's going to be a must-have in your DC Universe collection. This is probably one of the best Batman action figures they've made yet. Not the absolute best. That's still going to go to the Norm Brayfogle Batman. That's still the best one. But and the Adam West Batman's great. You know, the 1939, the Detective Comics 27. Lone Dragon asks, they made an Aunt Harriet action figure. Unfortunately, no, they did not make an Aunt Harriet action figure ever. Not even Classic TV Toys or Figures Toy Company or whatever they call it when they did their Mego type Batman figures. And honestly, I figure if anybody would have made an Aunt Harriet, it would have been them. But they did make Chief O'Hara. They never made Commissioner Gordon because apparently Neil Hamilton's estate is really, really picky about licensing out his likeness. So I guess they're a little snooty about Batman. God, it's the main thing that people remember Neil Hamilton for. Like, and if it's not that, it was him being like, you know, cucked out by Tarzan in the first couple of Tarzan movies when like he was Jane's fiance before she met Tarzan. So he was better off in Batman. At least Batman never cucked him out. But yeah, fantastic figure. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I think they pretty much executed this one perfectly. So that's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, do like Kane Hidewood suggests and hit the like and subscribe and all that fun YouTube stuff down below. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this figure, both Batman and in general and this figure specifically. But like, really any version of Batman, but of course this is more, like I said, that sort of like late Golden Age, early Silver Age type of Batman. So that would probably be the most appropriate one to talk about, I think. Oh, you know what? We forgot to do the trading card. So let's go ahead and do the trading card real quick before I sign us out. I know I pulled it off, but I didn't actually read it. So here's the trading card. That's what the front looks like. That's what the back looks like. And it reads, Batman and Ace the Bat-Hound, Silver Age, real name Bruce Wayne. The 1950s was a decade of change for the Dark Knight detective, one to introduce new friends and foes. These tales included the debuts of Ace the Bat-Hound, Deadshot, the original Batwoman, Kathy Kane, Mr. Zero, who would go on to greater fame as the nefarious Mr. Freeze, the original Red Hood, and the pesky interdimensional pixie known as Batmite. This was also an era of great inventiveness, with tales that revealed how Batman's own father, Thomas Wayne, was once a Batman himself, how Batman became a Superman-like hero on the distant planet of Zur-En-Arrh, and secrets of Batman's utility belt, and the introduction of an all-new Batmobile. By the way, there is a platinum edition of this figure that actually is the Zur-En-Arrh Batman, and while I haven't managed to find it yet, I'm hoping that I will be able to get it soon. Lone Dragon says, good luck getting likes with me sabotaging your videos with off-the-wall comments. Well, it is what it is. And, who knows? You might develop a cult following. they might turn into my videos just to see what kind of crazy stuff you do say. So I'm not going to complain. Anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Lone Dragon says, I freaking hate that Batmite thing. It's like the Great Gazoo. I think he came before the Great Gazoo. So if anything, the Great Gazoo was like Batmite. But yeah, like, remember the episode of The Simpsons where they were poking fun at the Great Gazoo, and Troy McClure was talking about Osmodiar, an alien that only Homer can see. So I keep waiting for them to put Osmodiar on the show at this point. Like, I haven't watched The Simpsons in like 20 years, but if it turned out Osmodiar actually was a regular character on The Simpsons at this point, I would not be surprised. Anyway, that's it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. We will talk to you next time. Bye.